Hello students, welcome to the class. Now this is a video on note making, which is in the writing component of unit 1 of semester 2. Now before we going into the mechanics of note making, we'll try to understand the differences between note taking and note making. Now note taking is a method of writing down briefly, rapidly, and clearly the crucial items of a lecture, a paper reading, or a meeting. The important skill that we use or employ during note taking is our listening skills. And the two crucial questions that we always ask during note taking is what to write and how to write. What is the most important point here and how should I actually write it? Whereas note making is a slightly different study skill and which is in which we write down the key relevant points of a written material for use at a later date. The most important skill that we use in note making is our reading skill. And two important questions that we ask during note making is what are the key points and how can I organize this information so that I may be able to recall it at a later date. Now let's look into some more differences between the process of note taking and the process of note making. Now in note taking, generally we do it at a fast pace. It may not bring improvement in the skills of our studying. We simply jot down points and there is no immediate interpretation of what we are writing. Very less changes are required once notes are taken. It may be useful or for our own self. Note making, whereas, can be done rapidly or even at a leisurely pace. It does improve our study skills once we are involved in note making. It helps us to see through the connections and the information that is given to us. We can always make changes to the notes made or notes taken in note making. It will not only be useful for us, it will also be useful for others as well. Now, how does note making help us? Now, note making helps us to understand what we are actually reading. It clarifies our thinking about what is the most important point here or what's the main idea of the passage that we are reading. It also helps us to be selective and identify the various key ideas in the passage. It helps us to remember the material and it also helps us to organize our ideas and make connections. And note making is highly useful for revising and reviewing before examinations. So, this is what note making does to us: understand, identify, remember, organize, and even revise. Now, good note making should be short and compact. That is, we need to exclude what is not important. And it should also involve complete information, that it must include all the important points. And there has to be a logical representation in good note making. That means we need to make sure to include the connections, the headings, the examples. And it should be understandable so that we may be able to easily remember it for a later stage. Now, how to make notes? Let's look at the mechanics of note making. Now, first thing that we need to do is skim through the text. Now, skimming is a reading technique and where we read through the text briskly to grasp its gist, purpose, and the key points. So we need to read the intro and the conclusion of the text. We can also read the beginning and ending of each paragraph so that we may be able to grasp the theme and the main idea of the text. The next step is to read it again, but this time scan the text. Scanning is also another reading text technique where we read through the text to see the main divisions or how the main idea is developed through the text, and also to see the interrelationships between the main divisions. We also need to look for the examples, the statistics, or some other matter which is of crucial importance during scanning. Now, the next point would be to write down the main points or the subpoints that we have uh, recorded in each section as they appear in the text. Then we can rephrase in our own words the main points and the subpoints, and we can also make them into shorter phrases, sometimes even single words. Then we need to use schematizing. Schematizing could mean that we need to see how we can use tables, charts, or diagrams for organizing specific or scientific material, which may be in the form of classification or figures, etc. Then we can use a proper layout for the whole data. Like we need to see if the data can be put into outline form or tables or pie charts or T diagrams or flow charts or mind maps. We can use standard abbreviations to save time. First few letters of words and phrases can be the functional abbreviations that may be easily understood even later also. For example, volume can be written as VOL, especially as ESP, and so on. And signs and symbols are also useful tools for making notes. We can use these symbols and signs in our note making so that uh, we can save time and also space. Now, there are some methods that we generally follow during note making. One of the method is the linear method or the outline method. In this, we write the heading, the title of the passage, and then we write the main topics. And then we divide the main topics into subtopics, and then we write the key points in the subtopics. We need to make sure that our notes are well categorized and organized. We can also use indentation to keep things clear. Another method is the mind mapping method, where we can also again write the main topic, divide it into subtopics or branch it into subtopics, and then also branch the subtopics again into key points for easy visualization. Now let's do an exercise. Now here is a passage given to us to read and make notes from it. Now, first of all, what we need to do is read through it at a brisk pace to get the main idea. Right? You might have observed that this passage is about effective listening skills. Right, very good. Now, the second thing is we need to scan it again, that is, read it again, so that we may find the divisions. If you observe, the first paragraph is about the incompetent listeners or non effective listening and the different ways they do it. And in the second part, we understand that it is about effective listening and what goes into effective listening. So we understand that we have got two important sections here. So we have done the scanning now. Now let's put them together. What title can we give to this? Probably effective listening or keys to effective listening. And one of the subtopic would be non-effective listening. And another subtopic could be how can we effectively listen? Right. And finally, we'll put notes. We can make the notes in this fashion. So the title is The Art of Effective Listening. Now you can be creative with your titles. And the first subtopic is Effective Speaking Depends on Effective Listening, concentration on hearing what is said. The second subtopic I have written is Reasons Why Incompetent Listeners Fail. And the subtopics under it are their attention drifts, they find counter arguments, they compete and filter, even they react. And the third main topic is ways to be effective listener. Subtopics under it are, as per the passage, concentration, mental alertness, physical alertness, and note taking. We have also written at the end of it the abbreviations that we have used, like EFF for effective, CON and CEN for concentration. Now, this is how you can actually make notes in the outline method. Right. I would request you to read through the note making and note taking section in Unit 1's writing component. And if you have any more queries or questions, you can approach us on the Blogspot or the mail ID or even WhatsApp us. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.